welcome to the Monkeycast. Today it's me, Aaron, and we have our two normal co-hosts, Ethan and Tomas. And today we'll be talking about clean power. So to
Yo,
start off,
Energy.
well, the most obvious one that's been talked about in the news lately is nuclear power.
I actually don't read the news that much. What about it?
What do you think about that?
I think nuclear is, well, what do you think about it first? I'll give my thoughts after, Ethan.
I'm not really sure. What? So,
Well,
what's
despite
nuclear power
safety
again?
concerns,
Nuclear power
this
is.
concerns raised over incidents such as the Chernobyl incident and the Fukushima incident, but the UN has declared stable recently.
Yeah, I've read, well, I'm not like a specialist in nuclear power, obviously, but I've read, like, nuclear power is the most efficient source of, energy that we can utilize, like, short of the sun itself. Well, the sun itself is a giant nuclear reactor, basically. And the meltdowns at like Fukushima and Chernobyl mainly happened due to I'm pretty sure old or malfunctioning technology and uh
Actually, the Fukushima incident happened due to the Japanese tsunami that happened around the same time. It was a side effect, and Chernobyl happened due to mismanagement of their nuclear reactor.
e-
Uh,
um mismanagement a thing, but I'm pretty sure people have learned in the years since then and also developed better ways of more stable reactors and such.
But about reactors, I think the most effective way to utilize reactors would be to keep them in stable areas, not areas such as Japan with their frequent earthquakes and tsunamis. And
Yeah, definitely not on the Ring of Fire.
yeah.
Um,
Um, I,
what
I,
else?
I just think obviously we know it's not really safe, right? Compared to the other
yeah,
ones. Yeah.
Wait, nuclear? No, nuclear energy is one of the safest
Oh what? Oh wait.
and like zero, most efficient because it's like zero. Wonder, do you have any figures on the emissions of nuclear power plants?
No, I mean like, as in like, isn't it like toxic or something?
Well, yeah,
yeah,
nuclear
nuclear
waste is
is indeed
due to this,
radioactive.
Yeah, it's radioactive. That's what I meant.
but nuclear waste, if managed properly, is bad. But if not, then yeah, of course. Nuclear plant.
Mm.
Um,
I think it's one of its main concerns would be its detriment to human life.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The main concern, yeah, that the potential risk of another Chernobyl or something like that definitely makes a lot of people worried about nuclear power
Plants.
plants and nuclear power in general.
Yeah, and
But
it's
it
not
the
just
zero
humans.
carbon emissions, the largest source of the zero carbon emissions from nuclear plants, and um,
Although personally, I think the most viable solution outside of nuclear plants, especially for countries in the Ring of Fire, would be geothermal and hydrothermal power.
oh yeah, definitely utilizing the like unique like geography, I guess, of the
Yes.
of those like in the Philippines or in like in yeah Asia or like East Asia.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, what,
So, especially in Asia, geothermal and hydrothermal electricity are very heavily utilized. But personally, I think that companies such as Meralco could make a slightly bigger effort to further implement them. And because of the area we're in, I think it would be beneficial to cut down further on fossil fuels. But in countries where this may not be able, such as the
Yeah,
UK
I mean,
and such, it would
what
make more sense to continue using fossil
actually,
fuels.
we're we're
um,
we're we're islands, you know. So like, we're surrounded by water. Why don't we use it, right?
um,
But
yeah,
personally, I think that using fossil fuels. Although all the people advocate for its complete abolition, that's just not realistic, because it's the foundation of our electricity.
Yeah,
Some
like you've seen, like with the recent climate conference, India and China protested against phasing out coal power because they grew their economies and like rose and took their populate billions of people out of poverty
Yeah,
on coal power.
they did so
It's
yes,
much with it. Yeah.
and it's real. I mean, it could be done, but not definitely not in the near future.
Yeah.
that's also what I felt.
That's why phasing
So
down would, and I guess that's a good idea, but increasing the amount of geothermal and hydrothermal plants throughout, like you said, the Ring of Fire especially.
yeah, and in areas such as these, it definitely makes more sense for us to transition, maybe not fully, but the mostly transition the geothermal, hydrothermal electricity, and in areas where they are able to have stable weather, with no overly bad conditions,
Mm.
then maybe they can
Mm.
consider implementing nuclear power. But right now, it's just not in the books for places like the Philippines,
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
Indonesia,
I have
Japan.
some figures. A quarter of the world's geothermal generation capacity is located in Southeast Asia. Um, and like
Ooh.
within the Philippines itself, geothermal accounts for 12% of the national energy demand, and we can, but that's just we have the capacity for a lot more plants.
Yeah. Another
Mm.
thing to be noted would be crypto mining, because it's been a very hot button topic lately, with some people saying, "Oh, crypto mining should be allowed." Some people saying it shouldn't be allowed. But personally,
Especially,
I do feel that
Cryptocurrency?
it's counterproductive.
yeah, especially with the you know, this isn't related to energy, but the global silicon shortages,
Yeah.
um, the limited
And
supply of
Oh,
like
really?
video cards for gamers and silicon for like different industries like the automotive industry, automobile industry. I think, yeah.
yes,
Mm.
actually, we're facing worldwide silicon shortages, and crypto mining, although counterproductive for the economy, it still has a major influence on both our energy consumption, which means the overall fossil fuels we use, and also the global silicon shortage, which needs to be handled as well.
Yeah, crypto miners and like crypto plants take up a lot of energy, a lot of electricity. Like China has had some recent crackdowns on crypto. Um, see here. Philippine Department of Energy is targeting an additional 900. I think that's my weight. Yeah, I think it's mega million. Yeah, yeah. An additional 900 megawatts of geothermal energy capacity by 2025, and a further 288 megawatts in the 5 years to 2030. And just for comparison, wait, Philippines' current geothermal energy product production.
Mm.
As of 2017, the Philippines' net installed geothermal capacity at 1.9 gigawatts. Let me just convert that.
So,
Uh, wait, gigawatt. Um, what else do we have? Uh, not hydrothermal, but hydroelectric energy. What do you guys think of that?
uh, yeah, I
I
mean,
think that hydroelectric energy is a very good way to go.
that's
It's
probably
for us
the
to actually.
one. That's probably the one we can use most, like the most
Oh, actually,
realistic one that we can put into effect, you know,
hmm.
as
Oh
fast
yeah,
as possible.
about that conversion. As of 2017, 1.9 gigawatts is 1,900 megawatts, and with the goal of an additional 988 megawatts by 2030. That's almost like um um that's almost like adding an additional like 50% or like not doubling, but that's a lot um that
Mm,
we can produce here in the Philippines.
yeah.
So yeah, given again, we have a lot of running water. We've got a lot of big waterworks in the Philippines. We've got a lot of geothermal electricity. So given the country's current resources, although we do have the resources, we just don't have. We have all the everything we need, but we just don't have the money. We just don't have the organization capability, especially the pandemic. Which is why I think, plans with COP 26 all of this they should be slightly postponed. They just aren't realistic at the moment.
Yeah, like extended,
Yeah.
like maybe 2050 instead.
Yeah, that's the feeling I
Yes.
also got.
Unless like drastic shift and like if more if countries like the U.S. donate like give funds to like the Philippines to develop more like plant new like geothermal and hydroelectric plants, it's probably not super feasible by the set goal of like 2030.
But
Yeah,
something else
but
to consider would
the
also be the misappropriation of funds.
yeah, the
I'm
thing is
by
like
this time, I'm sure you guys,
yeah,
I'm
like
sure you've heard about the Farwell incident, all this. So that's also something we have to consider.
Hmm.
have you heard about like I remember my mom told me this once like PhilHealth was holding I'm pretty sure this was in the news. PhilHealth was holding 60 billion pesos and they weren't using it for
That's,
anything,
that's what I meant.
something like that.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a lot that could have been diverted to like not just hmm,
Yeah, to everything in the sustainable development goals and
yeah.
anything just positive in general.
How do you think the Philippines or other developing countries like can can how should I say, how can develop their like renewable energy sectors enough like for at least say like 2050? How do you think they could in what do you think they could develop their renewable energy sectors enough to meet the goal meet the climate conference goals?
Uh,
Uh, I think that again we need a lot of funds to do this, and we just don't have the time. We just don't have the funds, especially in the Philippines. But in other countries such as maybe the U.S. Or the UK, they'd be more able to implement this. But problem is with those countries that they just don't have the geothermal, the hydrothermal. They don't have all these things that the Philippines has. So
Yeah.
so like, shouldn't they like work together, fund each other?
yes, but that again might not be very realistic given the
Yeah.
current circumstances.
Hmm.
So I do feel like we have to consider all of these things, and we should try to find a way to im- try to find a way to make some change. And
Yeah, how
yeah,
can we do this as students? Like, again, it's back to this question, but how can we affect? This one's a little harder than wildlife extinction, but
so something that people could consider with this is that you are able to send messages to your government representatives. You are able to directly influence what bills they decide to pass by sending messages to them.
Yeah.
That's something that you have to
or or
consider as well.
by or
Spreading
by
awareness is another good way.
yeah,
Anything is
Mm.
another good way.
or by voting. Yeah, voting if you're
I,
old enough, of
I
course.
mean,
But
You're of age, then voting would be a very good way to influence it.
hmm,
yeah.
um, what
Or I
else?
mean, you could just ask your
Do
parents
you
to
think
start doing it themselves. Yeah.
do you think Southeast Asia or East Asia could should invest in wind power.
Yes, me too.
Yes.
So I'd just like to encourage we should try to spread awareness, I guess, about geothermal, thermal, and possibly nuclear energy if they capability, and
Solar.
just
Don't forget
try
solar.
to find a way to
Yeah,
make it implemented
yeah.
because it's
Advocate for geothermal, especially in the Southeast Asia region, and nuclear for regions that are relatively stable, like Europe maybe or the US.
yeah.
Just
Now
Hmm.
we're not necessarily indicating that you should completely switch to it, but we're just saying that influence that it can make is very it's major.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially in
it's far.
reducing greenhouse gas emissions and global warming and climate change and all
It's gonna
that.
be far
And
better in the long run if you try
yeah,
switching now.
yeah. And in the case of nuclear, that's a lot of potential energy that is just not being produced right now.
Hmm.
So I think that just about covers everything on clean energy and what the monkey has to say about it. Thank you for
Um,
listening. Um,
Subscribe to Monkeycast official on YouTube and on
yes.
Twitch, and thank you
Yeah.
for listening.
This is
Thank
us
you.
signing off.